Well, our next guest is a Ukrainian journalist who, like many, doubted any reality of war. She penned an op-ed. It's titled, "I'm in Kiev and awake at the darkest hour as Putin's bombs rain down." And in it, she writes, "I was one of those who, until the very last moment, could not accept the notion of a full-scale invasion with airstrikes on our major towns." Nataliya Gumenyuk joins us now, live from Ukraine. Good morning, Nataliya.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to talk to you.
So you are a war correspondent. You're used to hearing the shellings outside. Is that why you decided to stay and didn't take it as seriously?
Yeah, absolutely staying because I'm the reporter. I know the Russian-Ukrainian war is here for 8 years. It's something I've written a book on the occupation of Crimea, so it's my profile. And of course, I'm here as my husband, who is a journalist as well, so we are working as my colleagues who are the closest journalists. But I should also explain that indeed all the active people, they prefer to stay, they try to send their families and kids and parents to a safer place, but they are either going to fight or they do their job, so essential workers, and there is a very strong resilience in Ukraine. It's really the historic moment. This you quoted me that I was doubting, not because we're stupid, not because the evidence was not there, but this is really something which is changing the world order, something which is changing the rule of the 21st century. So it shouldn't have happened, but it does in this scale. We couldn't have seen it, at least in my generation.
How, in between your interviews and writing stories and being on television, how are you balancing packing up your belongings or what's happening behind the scenes in between your interviews and work?
So indeed, it's quite tense because, you need to carry and take care how you bring your mom to the railway, because still there is an opportunity to leave the capital, trying to calm down, your other employees. But indeed, for instance, I've just moved the office at first to a different part of the room, then kind of going to the going to kind of maybe set up something in the bathroom because I can't afford to work from the, basement of the house. It's not really the place where should be the airstrikes, but we do hear airstrikes. Should add, I just forgotten that I haven't eaten for 2 days, but I think we are also preparing for something longer. So I think what I'm doing, it definitely helps me more because I have this sense of purpose. I know a lot of people, they feel they want to do something, but of course, if they're just civilians, females, not everybody is really able. So they're trying to do with some kind of non-military way.
Well, as a journalist, describe what you're seeing in your area, in your neighborhood.
I'm living just in the residential area. Things are, sometimes we could hear sirens, for instance, but I'm really closely following what's going on. It's indeed there was an attempt to fight in Kiev. There was a sabotage group, but it was destroyed in a similar residential area. The Naidu, closest colleague of mine, lives just near the presidential building. She, see quite a lot of air defense weaponry and, heard the shooting. But rest of the town is largely calm, to explain that shops are working, internet is working, the subway is sheltering the people, but it's working and free. Hospitals are working, internet, mobiles, all the industry, all the infrastructure, the government, the authorities, they're all trying to make, it as possible, as livable to the people. People are called not to go to the, offices unless they are emergency workers. Emergency workers are working. Schools are, of course, not working. So, it's quite stoic, I should say. And we do observe that, indeed, the message I really want to convey, that it's more than 30 hours now, and indeed it's Ukraine is as big as France. It's hard to understand, and follow what's happening all over the country, but they are there. They are fighting back. I've heard your previous segments how there was all the discussion what would happen if the capital falling, but the fights are there with not like with some limited resources, just on our own, but against such a mighty army. I thought that Vladimir Putin definitely thought that would be way easier for him.
I saw that Zelensky said that he's offering guns to all ages. Anyone who wants to defend themselves. Molotov cocktails are now legal. The headline this morning, an American newspaper, one of the popular ones in New York, says bloody hell. If you had to write a headline really quickly, what would your headline be?
I'm writing different headlines, so I'm puzzling with that. But I probably would stress how historical is this moment, because it's ruined the world we lived after the Second World War. There was no really the case when a mighty country, just with military force, is trying to overtake a huge democratic populous country with no any reason. It's not the globe we built, so that would be my headlines.
Well, Nataliya, I wish you the best. God bless you. There are many people over here that are praying for your country. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Be safe.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.